In the history of India's struggle for freedom, one man stands out in all distinctiveness and a class by himself. Subhash Chandra Bose is in his total personality a unique phenomenon of 20th century India. Bose was born on 23rd January 1897 in Cuttack, Orissa. He was strongly influenced by Swami Vivekananda's teachings and was known for his patriotic zeal as a student. He then appeared for the Indian Civil Service examination and was placed fourth. But his urge for participating in the freedom movement led him to resign from the coveted Indian Civil Service. Bose advocated complete independence for India at the earliest. Fondly called as Netaji, his best-known saying was, "Give me blood, and I will give you freedom." Bose was elected president of the Indian National Congress for 2 consecutive terms but resigned from the post following ideological conflicts with Mahatma Gandhi. He established a separate political party, the All India Forward Bloc, and continued to call for the full and immediate independence of India from British rule. He was imprisoned by the British authorities 11 times. When India was declared as a warring state, Bose started a mass movement against utilizing Indian resources and men for the war. The response to his call was met with the British promptly imprisoning him. He took to a hunger strike, and after his health deteriorated on the 11th day of fasting, he was freed and was placed under house arrest. It was in 1941 that Subhash Chandra Bose suddenly disappeared. The authorities did not come to know for many days that he was not in his barrack. He traveled by foot, car and train and resurfaced in Kabul, only to disappear once again. In November 1941, his broadcast from German radio sent shockwaves amongst the British and electrified the Indian masses, who realized that their leader was working on a master plan to free their motherland. With Japanese monetary, political, diplomatic and military assistance, he formed the Azad Hind government in exile, regrouped and led the Indian National Army to battle against the Allies in Imphal and Burma during the World War II. In the beginning of 1943, a most hazardous journey was undertaken by him underwater, covering thousands of miles, crossing enemy territories. At one stage, he is believed to have traveled 400 miles in a rubber dinghy to reach a Japanese submarine, which took him to Tokyo. He was warmly received in Japan and was declared the head of the Indian Army. These soldiers were united by another revolutionary, Rash Bihari Bose. Bose called it the Indian National Army, and a government by the name Azad Hind Government was declared on the 21st of October 1943. INA freed the Andaman and Nicobar Islands from the British and were renamed as Swaraj and Shahid Islands. His political views and the alliances he made with Nazi and other militarist regimes have led to some accusing him of fascist sympathies. Alas, he is believed to have died on 18th August 1945 in a plane crash over Taiwan. However, contradictory evidence exists regarding his death in the accident. The Axis powers were fighting a losing battle in 1945 when the Japanese radio announced the death of Subash Chandra Bose in a flight crash. The then British Indian government rejected the claim of his death. 4 different commissions of inquiry were appointed by different governments to investigate his death, but there appeared gaps in the findings of each of those. The Mukherjee Commission was the latest one to have submitted the report as late as in 2006. India, after all, achieved independence in 1947, and Bose should have come back to the country to be part of active politics. Although it was believed that Netaji died in a plane crash, his body was never recovered. The possible scenarios of his death are: Scenario 1. The USSR, USA, UK were all part of the Allied forces who ensured all the leaders from the Axis powers were either captured or killed. The announcement through the Japanese radio might have been influenced by the Indian National Congress to save one of India's greatest leaders of the times from being captured by the Allied forces. Probably he might have returned to India. The Indian government might have kept him in hiding. Scenario 2. Bose might have been captured by the USSR and kept in as a captive. Maybe even the Indian government was not aware of the whereabouts of Bose if USSR captured him. In this scenario, Bose might have spent the rest of his life in jail or might have been executed. Scenario 3. Bose might have been captured by the USSR and the Indian government might have known it. The USSR probably was not interested to release him in order to investigate his role in the Second World War. At the same time, the government might have kept the news under the carpet to prevent an emotional uprising in India, which could have potentially meant curtains for Indo-Soviet friendship. Bose married Emily Schenkel, an Austrian-born national who was his secretary in 1941 or in 1942. Bose and Emily Schenkel had a daughter, Anita Bose Pfaff, who is a professor of economics in the University of Augsburg. Back in the present, the government of India has refused to release documents regarding Bose, even under the RTI channel, saying that it will have a negative impact on India's relations with foreign nations. The contents of the classified documents believed to impact India's relations with other countries has not been released by opposition parties when at power as well. More than 65 years have passed since India's independence. Some mysteries remain mysteries.